attendance list. So
Yes, in attendance.
I'll accept that. Ow, ow, ow.
If you can get your rear end out of the seat.
Out of the butt sucker chair.
Why you said rear end?
I believe we have a quorum at this point.
Woohoo! Quorum is made.
And we are live.
Woo, we're all alive.
Speak for yourself. Quit putting words in my mouth. I am a figment of your imagination.
All right, this meeting is for the living only. If you're dead, get out of here.
I'm not
Hey,
quite sure
wait a
where I
second.
fit right now.
Wait a second. You do that, I think all of us are going to leave.
All right.
we are in that part of the year, aren't we?
Yeah, and hey, wow, we've got a twin. We got twin Solanox. They look totally different from each other on the screen. That's funny.
Say, let's not upset Stan. He likes hanging around.
Yeah, don't upset Stan, please.
All right. Meeting called to order. Please note attendance. We don't have any extras, do we? I think I see
No extras.
Andy, Ella, and Bill over there. Is that
Mhm.
it?
Yep.
All right. What's on the agenda?
So what I've got for the agenda items at the moment are ratification of November minutes, which I did end up putting on the Facebook page event thing. Financial report, workday items, scout the new convocation hotel, and then insurance for Welcome Summerfest.
All right. First things first. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
I have.
Yep, I have.
Any discussion of the minutes?
I didn't see anything there that needed to be modified.
They look good to me.
Good to me.
Any objections? Okay. Meeting minutes are good from last time. Welcome, Foxfire. All right, next up was
Financial report.
go.
Yay! Financial report. Income for the month of November was $1,972.78. Expenses for the month were $2,270.90. Get back to the right screen here. Ties out for the month for Mother Church after the $29 from Linode comes off is $69.64. That has been paid. I just paid it. Then we also have the Choice Charity of $98.64, which I will get paid tomorrow afternoon because I have to go through and put a bunch of information in because I forgot to save it, make myself a profile. But I'm not going to do that after this month because we may be changing that.
I have a point that I would like to discuss here, if I may.
Yes.
So the tithe, it's 5% to the Mother Church, 5% to the community, right?
Yep.
Do our sponsorships of convocation count?
According to what the bylaws say, it has to be something that doesn't. From what I understand, from my point of view, I don't know what. From what I understand, the bylaws say that it has to be something that doesn't pertain to paganism. I thought.
Okay, so it's got to go outside the pagan community. Okay.
Yes, that's what I understood. We could take a look at that and see if we wanted to. That's entirely up to you, but I assume that's what it's supposed to be.
Any comments? Foxfire asks, like local or city community. Yes, that's the idea. So that we're giving back to the community. That was just something that came to my mind last week that I wanted to clarify. So.
All right, but we could take a look at the charter from the Mother Church and find out But I think if I remember correctly, the charter that I have with the pantry, that it has to be outside the community.
Okay.
Meaning outside the pagan community, not outside our physical community, but the pagan community. It's got to be doing something more for the community, not a self-serving thing. Because I can't take my 10% tithe or my 5% tithe from pantry and give it to the church.
Well, that would be entirely too much in the family, but
but it's still, I can't give it to Save the Seeds Foundation either.
right.
Or to Spiral Scouts. I have to go outside of our community.
Okay.
So, that's what I was told. That's the rules I was told anyway. So right now in the checking account, at the end of the month for November, we finished the month out with $3,734.57.
Foxfire's got his hand up. Go ahead.
What about something like Punks with Lunch?
Yeah, we've done punks with lunch in the past, and that's something that we might want to discuss here. Is do we want to change our selection of charity for 2024, and do we want to put that out for a vote again?
I was say, don't we normally vote at the
Business
meeting at the first of the year, the first January weavers that we have?
I think you're right. I think you're right.
We usually like give a list of 4 or 5 and
Yeah, I don't think we've done this the same way 2 years in a row.
Let's say, because like I'm pretty sure we like polled the church last year.
No,
Well,
last
that
year.
was actually 2 years ago that we put a poll up on the website, and that's how we ended up at Capital Area Humane Society after being with Punks with Lunch for a couple of years. So,
And last year, our business meeting turned into a birthday party for the church, remember? Because it was our
That's right.
5-year.
That's right.
yeah.
And currently, right now, in the checking account, we have $3,970.53.
so how do we want to select our charity for 2024?
I like opening it up to the church attendants to have an input and a vote.
Because this is part of this is their money too.
We could make use tools we already have, Google Forms or something like that, and send out like a poll to the church, like or like on like Facebook page or something like that, and then they can click that, vote what they want to go for. We just have to pick a few to go with to start off, and then see what everybody wants to go for. But I think we could do that. I like that idea.
Voting's
So
always
when
good.
we did the online voting before, I put the voting on our website. I think I still have the plugin that can do that. Or using the Google form, like you said, isn't a bad idea. We got I think we got the church to offer up suggestions that first meeting of the year, and then we kept it up as a poll online for the month, and then at the end of January we tallied it up. Does that sound good?
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, we could do we want to wait till that first meeting of the year to do that, or do we want to start kind of getting people primed for that now?
You can make a brief mention of it. I don't think we need to make a big deal out of it, but like a brief mention on Wednesday nights. Be thinking about who you want to nominate for our 2024 designated charity.
Okay.
I would start that nomination now, and then at the first meeting of the new year, say, hey, this is what's been nominated. Now we're going to pick, and then leave it up for everyone to pick. So you don't push it too far out into the year.
Well, we don't pay January's tithe until February, so we're always a month behind on tithe.
Right. But if you've got it set up at the beginning of January, that gives them a month to vote, and then you're into February, and now you'll have someone to pay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I see what you're saying, Brian. I'm sorry. It wasn't clicking. Now it's clicked. I understand.
So, I will make a quick Google form that I can drop into the next newsletter, with request for nominations. And we'll also drop that on the front of our Facebook page, and we'll mention that on Wednesdays. And then at the first business meeting, we'll take that list and winnow it down to like 4 or 5, and then we'll have a vote on that during January. And then February 1st, we'll announce.
Would Art Interactive count as a charity? We
So,
could.
yes.
But you gotta be careful with that one in transparency rules, because we do things for them.
Yeah,
They do things for us.
that's a fair point.
That it could
Yeah,
become.
it might not be far enough out, but reach would be.
But reach would be. That's true. You gotta just watch what we're doing, or we could also.
I mean, yes and no, because we do have a lot of vested interest in Reach, having had members of the church.
That's not the
time.
same. That's not the same. We don't like do with Art Interactive. We're doing these full moon partnerships and stuff. It's not quite as outside the pagan community, but Reach is.
I mean, yes, Reach has a lot of homeschool children that go to that, like that. That's cool. And 9 times out of 10, the homeschool children in this area tend to be pagan in orientation, but it is not.
Oriented group.
It's not right. Thank you, Brian.
All right. We have any other discussion or questions on financial things?
Hold Patreon this last month for December was just a second. Read the right screen here. I have multiple windows. Love it. Patreon income this month, minus their fees and stuff, was $910.49 this month, just to let you know. And yes, I do have another item to deal with financial stuff.
All right.
I know that with the execution of our lease in December, the rental for the space that we are using for the church has went up.
Mhm.
We had an increase in rent. It happens every year. I think we need to look and think hard about, as a church, that we need to maybe kick in a little bit more, be it $50 more a month. We're paying currently $500 a month right now to KTM to help cover the cost of this space. I really think we should really think about paying another $50 a month to help cover that cost, because we got to be able to help pay the debts that we're helping incur. Any discussion on that?
So what are we paying right now again? Sorry.
We pay currently $500 a month
Okay.
to KTM for our part of the space that we use here at the church, or use here at the space we're at.
So I mean, if we're gonna go 50, we might as well go 100. I feel like.
Hold on, we've also got to remember, we're trying to put a driveway in and stuff, so we're gonna have to have some money coming in. Right now we're sitting at about $4,000. We're also going to be needing to get architectural drawings. That's going to start at $2,000. So we got to really that's why I'm pledging another $50 a month, not more than that.
How about
What do you need, Bill? What do you need the architectural drawings for?
We need to have architectural drawings done for the building and stuff, so that we need to have the property surveyed. We have to have the elevations, the driveway, and what we're planning on doing with the property when we go to start building our space, and so we know where we're putting things. So we have plans, so we know. So we're not putting ritual circle here, and then in a year or two we got to move it 700 feet back because we need this spot for parking lot for the building. We need to make sure that the space is planned out so that we're doing this the right way the first time, so we're not recreating the wheel.
Castle. Hang on. In order to develop property, we have to have it surveyed and create plans. And that's a necessary step before we can do any building on it. And it's one that we can do without asking permission. And once we take that step, we can then actually start talking to contractors and say, okay, let's price this. And then we have a better look at what our financial outlook is going to be going into the property.
Thank you.
We also need the plan drawn up and written out to be even start the process of getting the zoning variances done.
So as far as the $50 additional to what we pay already, I personally am okay with that. I think we should also revisit that later and just see if maybe we could afford to increase it as well, just beyond that.
I think this should be done once a year.
I was thinking more frequently, more like once a quarter.
Honestly, once a quarter, you're not, because money fluctuates so much.
Mhm.
Once a year is probably going to be your better bet.
Cool.
Because that goes up every year, once a year.
Mhm.
And a contractor,
That's going to be absolutely amazing.
even on the curb cut.
You want to call him for us?
I'll talk to him on Wednesdays, my contractor.
I figured.
Oh,
So are you not wanting to share?
what do we got? What we got going on here?
The contractor that's doing the brewery work is a fully licensed, non-subcontracting contractor. He builds complete buildings, the whole works. He's got his plumbing cert, his electrical cert. He's got everything but architecture, and I got a good architect too. So I think we can sit down, if you guys really want to get some kind of cost on this, we can sit down with them and see what they'll do it for.
Does he have a surveyor?
I wouldn't be surprised if he could survey himself.
Okay,
If he can't, I would imagine that the architect could.
I'm liking this. I think this is a great idea. I think this is something we really need to start working towards, because we've had the property now for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And we have a 50-foot path.
And we have a 54-foot path into the woods.
The
That's right.
other question to think about on that front is Ashley and Alfred, y'all were at that meeting with the city planning person. Was there something said in that meeting about not being able to rezone the property until we had developed it?
No, they didn't want to even address rezoning until we had the architecture plans and the the words.
Wasn't a civil engineer look at it and
Yes.
develop something
Yes.
about, I think it had to do with the drainage and all that kind of, those issues.
Yeah, because there's a water swale that goes through there on the front. On the front of the property, where that 60-foot of frontage is there on Jolly, there's a water swale that runs along where that tree is, where we're gonna have to put the driveway. There's a water swale that runs through there. In the spring, when we go over and mow for the first time, there's water, and there's usually standing water there after the snow melts. And if we get a heavy rain,
I don't think this person knew any of that. I think this just had to do with standard stuff that needed to be done.
Right.
Yeah.
But I know that there's a water swale there.
Yeah.
Somebody had suggested that the rezoning might be the next logical step, and I could have sworn I remembered there was other pieces of this that needed to be done first. So
It's having the plans and everything all put together to be able to take to the application process.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm not sure because I think half of what we were told, we looked up and saw it as lies. So.
I'll talk to my architect. He knows the laws. And I'll let you know what he says. These
All
are
right,
guys that build buildings for a living.
Which
Right.
is who you've been needing to talk to. I just hadn't been able to get any to talk to me.
They're hard as hell to find. Trust me. I know. It took a while. And if you and the difference between a good contractor and a bad contractor is 10,000 and 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite literally the price ranges we hit for the same project.
Yep.
So if we could get some information from him and see if he's willing to even sit down and talk with us, that's a start.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to call the question back to where we were at with the increase with helping with rent around here. Because that's where this all started. So
So are you making a motion?
I am moving that we increase our rent to Keystone Manifestation of $50 a month to help cover the cost of the increase of our lease.
A second.
How much did the lease go up?
200.
Effective January?
No, effective December.
That happened the first of December because that's when we signed the lease. Any other discussion on this motion?
Nope.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
Staying, conflict of interest?
Opposed? Abstaining? We got two
Staying,
abstaining.
conflict of interest?
Yeah, but no, but I understand that and I respect that. That's why I brought this up. Because I felt that was important.
Got it.
So now the next question is, do you want to back pay December $50? Yes.
If we can afford it, yeah.
We can afford it. I'm gonna move that we take $50 out of the checking account.
You don't need to. You could just pay it because it's less than 100.
yeah.
Just do it.
So next, you want to shuffle 50 when you pull rent for next month? Pull an extra 50 to cover the increase for December, please.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
All right, what's next?
Workday items.
Dun, dun, dun.
So there was a list on the Facebook. I didn't put them on there yet, but we've got what's currently on the list is scan the dishes into the tote. Right.
Yeah, into the tote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Organize the raffle items, decorate for Yule, clean out the fridge and cabinet above the sink. Also come up with a plan to keep it clean and organized.
I have one thing to add.
Okay.
Finish labeling the backdrops.
Finish labeling the backdrops. Okay.
I got 3 done. It's at least a 2-person job because I stopped when my arms started hurting.
Because you have to unfold them all.
You have to unfold it and then fold it and then tag it. And folding those are a lot easier with a second person.
Okay. So these are all things we want to do. Anybody got any questions or thoughts or additions beyond that?
I don't think so.
So we've got decorate for Yule. Or is that going to include building the fireplace piece?
We're not going to need to do that now
Oh,
because
We're thinking what we just did to Tarot 2 yesterday might suffice.
okay.
they put that on the south wall it looks
Did
like
you
you're in the
look at it?
firebox.
I saw it. Yeah. No.
You look like you're in the firebox. It looks like the whole wall is
Okay.
the firebox.
Okay. All right.
So there's no point.
I was just checking. All right. Cool.
Less work is a good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we don't have to spend money either, guys.
Nope.
I forgot to do today. I'll do it tomorrow.
What's that?
I gotta go up to the Habitat store.
You forgot to spend money?
Yeah.
Anything else? What's next?
The next agenda item, we've got to scout the new convocation hotel.
Hold on, let's take a step back. Did we actually address the workday items and get a plan to move forward on them, or no?
That was our plan. Just having them on the list is our
I was gonna say, I think just having them on the list is what we've been doing, and just is if you want to add anything to it. I think really vote is just
was creating the list for the workday. Got it.
Yeah. Does anybody? Do you want to add something to it?
Sand my brewery floor? No.
How about
I've got a shit ton I could add to it. Just saying.
No, it's just we do this so that we have because we do this on the third Sunday, so that when I get here, I erase the board because I'm here for pantry. I put the list up on the board so that when people come in to help with workday, here's the things we're doing. What would you like to help with? Type thing.
we're pretty much prepping the space for the Yule ritual.
Right, getting ready for Yule.
Third Sunday of the month is
17.
come on. I missed a Sunday. I thought we were on Christmas Eve.
Nope.
All right.
Well, it's October 72nd.
all right.
Yeah, I know.
So, all right. So the next agenda item was scouting the new convocation hotel. I think we wanted to make a trip of it, right?
Yes, we wanted to do a field trip so that we could anybody that could go out because any of us that are teaching classes should probably be going so that we can all look and see what's going on.
So what do we have in mind for when to do that? I mean, we've really got pretty much all of January. We could schedule it if we wanted to.
Well,
as soon after the holidays as possible, I think would be good.
Okay.
To go ahead and get that taken care of so we can be making our plans for things.
right, because the longer we wait, the harder the
Right.
more closer to crunch time we're gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with depending on my work schedule, kind of depends on. We should probably make sure to plan to take lots of pictures and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
We've got some
absolutely.
kind of like
Reference
general
points.
floor plan type stuff too. We could kind of use that.
That's not man. Never mind.
So are we looking at maybe the first full weekend in January?
Which would be like
The
6th and 7th.
The 5th, 6th, 7th. 7th is Solanox's birthday.
Oh, okay.
Because yes, I have the whole coven in my calendar. The 7th is Solanox's birthday and Alan's birthday is the 9th.
And we also have to remember that some people will have new rituals, new things going on the weekends and rituals and things like that. I know the 5th is a ritual for
Mhm.
the seniors, leaving seniors.
Well, the 5th is a ritual, but could we do the 6th?
I think so.
I've got nothing on the 6th right now.
I don't know my work schedule that far out yet, but I'm not gonna, my work schedule, I don't want to hold everybody up on that. I don't know when it's gonna be, so.
Monday.
Things are about to change drastically at work, so I don't know what it's gonna look like yet.
Why would you plan it for a Monday or a Tuesday?
So you don't have to have somebody to cover the store.
I get Tamara. Tamara can cover the store because Tamara, I don't believe, is going to be in the
If I
ritual.
have method of transportation.
You'll have a car. Did you hear back on that yet today?
Yes, I'll talk to you about it.
All right.
Worst comes to worst, if I have to come pick you up, I'll go pick you up and bring you up and then drive down. Ta-da, done.
See?
You've got family, sister. That's what we do.
So yes, I think January 6th.
Yeah, weekdays, especially Mondays, would make it harder for me because I'd have to be back in town in time to go get Tom from work unless we can count on somebody else's husband to go pick him up from
And we
work.
can't because he works second shift that day.
Yeah.
And it would be harder for Alfred, and everybody's got class and everything else. So
That's why.
if we're gonna do Saturday the 6th, what time? You wanna do like 6 o'clock?
4 a.m.
I don't think that's gonna get us anywhere.
Look, the blind guy
How
doesn't
far
do
away
any
is
good. Brian, just so you're fully aware, Castle was flipping you off.
That's real effective, Castle.
I know.
Hey, you one of those people that goes around yelling at deaf people? On the back?
It made me feel
How
better.
far away?
Okay.
How far away is this hotel?
It's in Ypsilanti, essentially. Welcome, Kenya.
Hey, Kenya.
You can't see me. I'm camouflage. Hi.
Kenya, I couldn't see you anyway.
Fair enough.
All right, 6 o'clock on the 6th. All right.
Fair enough. Call a time. There we go.
So are we leaving here at 6 o'clock?
And
Well, I don't think Alfred's going to want to meet us at the church to drive over there. So
Plan to be there at 6.
yeah, I think
So-
planning to be at the hotel at 6 would be the best bet.
So I'm gonna put it in my calendar for 4:30 to be here.
what are you wanting to do at the hotel?
We just want to go in and walk around and look at the rooms and the space.
Because we don't know.
We're going to be closed. You need to work with the hotel ahead of time to arrange a tour, and you'll need to plan it somewhat around when a manager would be there willing to give you that tour.
The public spaces don't close. We can walk through the hallways and look at things.
There's not doors on the rooms.
No, generally, if they're not being used, it's just there, and you walk down the hall.
One of us should probably call ahead and see if the meeting rooms are going to be in use that day.
Might have something going on that weekend.
They might
is
have
my
something
point.
going on that weekend, at which point we can just watch the crowd and see how the rooms are being used.
I can reach out. Would you like me to reach out to the MAC board and find out?
No,
I would just reach out to the hotel ahead of
I
time to
just
make
wanted to
sure.
walk through the space. That's all I wanted to do.
I know, and I
don't
would
wanna-
just work with the hotel ahead of time and make sure that, you know, it's gonna be a viable time to do it and that they're open to it. And if they keep all those rooms closed off and locked because they're not in use, that you can get in and see them. It's a reasonable request. I would imagine that they would be happy to do it. You know, and if they can be there at 7 that day, and then that's great. That's my suggestion. You guys don't need to do it, but I would suggest to make sure it's a fruitful trip.
Is that what you guys want to do?
I understand what we want to do is just basically go down and see where the rooms are at and see if there's a general size of the rooms. We don't need to be in the rooms. We just need to get a kind of a layout. Walking into a hotel to look at the lobby and look at the meeting rooms, they usually don't care. I know when I worked in hotels, they don't give a shit as long as you're not destroying stuff.
Yeah. People do scope them out. I worked in a hotel as well, and then we had people come in and scoping them out sometimes just to get an idea if it was big enough. We
don't have to call anybody when we get down there. We can ask the front desk if they've got the size descriptions of the rooms, the meeting rooms, and there we go. It's taken care of.
Because I'm pretty sure they probably have layouts.
Right.
So,
And I know that Con's been down there a lot of the time to do this.
And we can get floor plans and stuff. I'm not concerned about getting floor plans. I can do that for any hotel that's got conference rooms. My autistic ass wanted to be physically in the space and just walk through it with my spidey senses before planning big ass rituals in it. That's it.
And I agree.
And I think we don't really need to make an appointment to go do that. I think we need to do that. I don't think they're going to have a problem with it.
Okay.
All right.
So we're planning for January 6th to be there at 6 p.m.
Yep.
Do we have the address of the hotel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have it off the top of my head, so I don't.
Got it in the email.
Marriott, Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti. We'll pull it up. Okay. Hotel.
Brennan wanted to say hi.
So say hi.
Hi,
Oh.
Brendan. Long time no see.
Oh my goodness, who is that?
James Maddox.
What are you doing here, Maddox?
He's in town from Utah.
Mom asked what you're doing here.
I'm in town on vacation from Utah.
Hi from afar.
She said hi from afar.
Hi. Hi from closer than usual.
All right.
Hi, in front of the
So January 6th, hotel field trip. Next item, please.
All right. Next item: insurance
One last
for
question.
World's or Welcome Summerfest. Sorry,
One
which
last
I think
question
you
on the other
listed
one.
as additional 250.
Hold on. What was that, Brian?
One last question on the other one. Are you meeting at the hotel at 6?
Yeah.
Or meeting at Keys at 6?
No, at the hotel at 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're gonna. Those of us who are gonna carpool are gonna come here a little ahead of time.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Right.
looking to see what the address was, so I could see how far it was.
About an hour and a half. A little less, actually.
Ipsy?
Yeah.
Oh,
I allow an hour and a half to get to anywhere in the greater Detroit area, and then I'm never late.
You always have like extra half hour of time. That's what you do.
Right.
Okay.
Traffic allowance.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome Summer Festival.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I emailed our insurance people and asked for a COI for Welcome Summer Festival. The email I got back, I was not happy about.
I thought off-site things were covered in
Yeah.
the base.
That's
That was explicitly something we talked about at the beginning.
That's why I put this in the email. Just a second. Gerald Grimes. I will need to endorse the general liability to have Ingham County added as an additional insured on your policy. The additional premium for this endorsement is typically around $250. Is it okay to endorse your policy? I reply back, I need to bring it up at my next board meeting because I'm not allowed to spend that much money without board approval.
What does that mean exactly? What was the wording again on the Ingham County?
It includes Ingham County as an additional insured because Ingham County is liable for things that happen in the park, so the policy needs to cover them. And somebody would have to go back and read the original contract to me to tell you whether that should have been included in there or not.
All right. So, from Ingham County, the certificate must indicate Ingham County as an additional insured, and specifically by having the additional insured box on the form checked. Additionally, the following statement is required in the description of operations. Ingham County, all elected and appointed officials, all employees and volunteers, all boards, commissions, and or authorities and board members, including employees and volunteers, therefore, it is understood and agreed by naming Ingham County as an additional insured, coverage afforded is considered to be primary, and any other insurance Ingham County may have in effect shall be considered secondary and or excess. All above wording in quotations, including the sentence in parentheses, must be shown on the certificate. This certificate should be for $1 million minimum combined single limited coverage. The address for the county to put on there for their office to include them. I emailed them. I emailed our insurance people. This is what I got, and I said I can't approve that without taking it to the board. So that's where
I am annoyed because this was part of the conversation that we had with this agency last year when we started seeking general coverage. And it was part of why we started seeking general coverage, because they said that this and Fenner Center and all of that was going to be included. However, What's included in the actual coverage is $100,000 limit on damage to premises rented to you is what it covers. So it is indeed an increase over what we secured in our general coverage.
Okay. So that's why I brought it to the board before I said yes or no on that, because it is an increase in cost. And I wanted to run it by the board before we did this.
Doesn't sound like we have a lot of choice. If we wanted to do it there, we probably were gonna have to pay it.
You're gonna have to pay them or somebody else to get $1 million coverage.
I mean, it's still less than we were paying before we had the general.
Right, because it was what, $395 last year for insurance?
Something like that, yeah.
Almost
Okay.
400, so we're saving money.
And she said approximately, so that means that there's a chance that it could go a little less, a little more, right?
It's typically around 250.
Around, yeah.
So what I will do is I will contact Cheryl tomorrow and find out the exact dollar amount and put it in our board chat so that we can get this voted on and get it taken care of, so that we can get the park paid for. We can start doing our advertising, get our things done for Welcome Summer Festival.
Do you want to do a vote now up to whatever would be unacceptable and just take care of it?
We could do that.
I'm okay with that.
For the board that we allot up to $300 as acceptable, and if it goes higher than that, it needs to come back to the board.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There.
Crickets. Thank you. Less work on my end.
All right. What's next?
That
Any
was
questions on that topic?
the last topic we had on the list.
Oh, we lost Megan. Or is she coming in?
She's probably coming in.
All right. Let's let her come in.
Oh, she went to the front door.
Yep,
She went to the front door.
She's out front.
We just heard her lock her car.
Can we
That
get
was last time. Oh, sorry.
can we get a round of committee reports?
Right now, we did not meet this last month for Welcome Summer Committee because it slipped through the cracks. I will get a scheduled meeting for this next month before next board meeting.
All right. Do you have a current vendor count or anything?
Current vendor count right now is still at, just a second.
I don't think that would fit in that park.
We are at 9 vendors right 10 vendors because we gotta count Keith. So I've got 10 vendors right now. All of them have paid that I've got because they paid the day of the event. I have sent out an email, have not heard crickets. I will probably send another email this week to vendors again to see if we can get some more traction on all these business cards I've collected over the year.
Yep, keep reaching out.
Yep, I plan on doing that. That's another to-do list this week.
All right, any questions?
I actually want to put that in motion right now.
Alfred, do you have a report from security?
Well, for the emergency planning, we didn't have the meeting. I have to get together with everybody and establish time that we can do this. I've been a little off and under the weather the last couple weeks, so I've slowed down quite a bit. I did gather up a couple resources that I need to put into a shared drive so that the members can look at it and start getting an idea of what we got to do. And then you also asked that I give a little bit of my background and a quick intro to ICS. Do you still want me to do that tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. As far as me, I officially started in emergency management in like 2005 in the Air National Guard. Before that, though, I did have quite a bit of experience with hazardous materials and chemical, biological, radiological warfare through the time that I was in the Navy. I went to the schoolhouse for emergency management in 2005, and in those days we were trained in a full spectrum threat response. So when we came out of school, we were not only able to be the boots on the ground doing the assessments of areas and going into labs and figuring out what bad guys were making. We were also involved in planning and teaching our people on bases how to survive all of this stuff. I've gone through the chemical defense training facility twice, where you train with live nerve agents. The first time was a lockstep, just being able to recognize the agents and deal with them safely. And the second time was actually, it was part of an exercise where you get intel drops over the first week, and you have to try to figure out what bad guys are doing in a lab, and then you actually go into the mock-up of the lab and get confirmation samples and do testing on that. That was a big part of what I did, was trying to figure out what bad guys were doing. I did do a deployment to Iraq doing the job. That was part of a huge equipment, multi-million-dollar equipment changeover at that time. I was the logistics chief while I was there, so I was managing the equipment and calibrating and maintaining those. I also was the logistics chief for the last sweep of Chemical Ali, which is where they were doing the research for chemical weapons in Iraq. And so I handled making sure that our guys had the equipment that they needed and it was in proper working order for that. I also spent some time as the training non-commissioned officer, where I basically ran our education department for my career field in our at Selfridge for us. I was also the emergency manager when I was there for Alpena Joint Combat Training Center. After that, I worked in the Macomb County Health Department as an emergency preparedness specialist, and my primary job there was getting us through the local technical assistance review, which was basically going through creating hundreds of documents to prove that we had what we needed to the CDC, and probably about 14 plans. I managed my first year, I got us like a 94. The second year I got us 100, and then they decided to go to an every other year program. From what I understand, Macomb County is still using stuff that I wrote. I question that because nobody's contacting me about all the zombie apocalypse virus things that I slipped into the plans that nobody reads. I did write their emergency operations plan, which is another full spectrum plan, which covers all the bases for how the health department would respond, whether it be natural or man-made disasters, chemical, biological, radiological use of weapons against us. So some of the big exercises, I've helped plan exercises that spanned 5 states and hundreds of different agencies. I planned and executed exercises that took up the entire contingency operation base in Iraq that I was at, which was over 10,000 people directly involved. I was also involved with Red Dragon, which was a fielding of our new equipment. So I've been involved with this kind of stuff, for a minute, and got a little bit of experience with it. I love this stuff. I completely nerd out on all of it. And I'm hoping that working with you guys can learn a little bit, and we can have some fun and develop the plans that we need to develop. With that said, one of the first things that we probably should talk about is the incident command system, which is one of the primary components of the National Incident Management System. The National Incident Management System is our big picture, all the pieces put together on what we're worried about, how we address what we're worried about, and how we train to be able to meet the needs that we think we have. The United States government actually has a list of 15 big scenarios that terrify our government, because if any of these things happen, the impact on our country would be horrific. And I usually break those 15 down into, we have several natural disasters in that list. We have a couple man-made disasters, and then we have the use of chemical weapons, the use of radiation dispersal devices, or dirty bombs, actual nuclear weapons against us, biological agents against us. Those are things we're scared of. And you guys would be amazed at how in depth they break down the training requirements for these things. The spreadsheets that have this information about what these agencies should be able to do is I'm amazed by it when I see it. One of the primary things that we use for the command and control of these different groups and agencies, in its simplest form, is called the Incident Command System. When I was exposed to this originally in the Coast Guard, I went through days and days of classes like, oh hell man, I'm never going to use, why am I sitting through this stuff? And it ends up being a really useful system to know. For us, we're probably, if we use it, we're going to use it in the simplest manner possible. Okay, this was originally developed for firefighters in the 70s during the wildfires in California. So they tried to simplify it, because as they went in, they were finding that everybody was saying the same thing and giving the same directions, but nobody understood each other. Because, well, I mean, you've been in our discussions. We get into these things and we start talking, and how many times we have several people saying the same thing, but the way they're saying it makes other people think they're saying something completely different, right? So an important part of ICS is common terminology. They don't use 10 codes with this, because 10 codes are not as standardized as you would think. There's a modular organization to it, so that you have an adaptable structure. So it's good for if there's a small incident in one place, or if there's multiple incidents all over the place. It expands and contracts as needed. ICS is basically used when a fire department goes on scene. They have this kind of a reaction, whether somebody's garage on fire, or Hurricane Katrina was also had an ICS response. It helps provide a flexible and structured network. When you look at the way this is put together, up at the top of the chain of command is the incident commander. And for us, that might be Solenox, that might be Castle, or somebody else designated by the technical need at that point. Who would be best in charge? But that doesn't take Solenox out of the picture. Solenox is still the boss. They may just have an incident commander reporting to them in this situation. The incident commander has a command staff, and that command staff is you have a public liaison officer. That's the face that has to talk to people. You have a safety officer, and you have another person who is so important that they completely slipped my mind at the moment. My apologies on that. Underneath underneath, so that's your command staff, right? Underneath that, you have a general staff, and that general staff we call the flop or the flops, which is your finance, your logistics, your operation, and your planning. And for us, it would be as simple as finance would be somebody, if something goes wrong, finance would be the person designated to grab all the receipts and start adding them up, trying to keep an eye on what a problem is costing us. Planning would just be the person who would say, you know, well, this is what's going on, this is probably our best approach. Operations are the boots on the ground that actually handle it. And logistics are the people who make sure that we have the stuff. In our situation, this could be a person in each position. This could be a person handling multiple hats. One of the big components of this is that you have the incident commander. They are the overall boss, right? But you don't want more than 5 to 7 people under a single person in this. The span of control, as you start getting too many people reporting to one person, it becomes unmanageable. So that's the reason why this develops into a hierarchical structure. A flat structure is just too many people reporting, too much confusion. So you need to break that down to be able to filter the information that needs to be passed on. Some of the strong pieces of this system is it's effective for communication because you have only a few people reporting to someone instead of 100 people trying to tell one person everything that's going on. It helps with resource management. By having a person in charge of resources, they can keep track of those things better. It's a scalable system. This is something that, you know, if we're utilizing an ICS system, an actual outside agency could come in and assist us with it or take over it, and that structure is already there, and we could do a handoff if necessary. So I think those are pretty much the big rocks with this. ICS 100 is the base course that you can do either through a FEMA class or on your own. I used to be able to teach it, but I think FEMA changed the requirements, making it a lot more complicated for me to say, you know, this is the structure. You know, because when the government gets involved, it always works better.
Sure.
But so that was the quick and dirty on that. I hope it wasn't too boring for you guys. Do you have any questions on that? Nope.
What you're talking about, Alfred, sounds very large scale. Can that easily scale down to our smaller size?
Yes. That's yeah, sorry, that's what I was trying to convey about that. This is one of those things where, you know, like our finance person is just somebody who's keeping an eye on what we're spending to take care of an issue. They're the person that everybody's passing their receipts to if they had to buy something to handle the problem. Whereas on a larger scale, that finance person's going to be the accountant running a department, keeping track of that. You know, our logistics person would just be who's gophering, who's going and grabbing the stuff we need. So yeah, this is just a handful of people in our case for most things. It's just a system that can be scaled to just a couple people or hundreds of people, depending on what you needed.
And it doesn't sound like it needs to necessarily differ from the organizational structuring we're already using. It just complements and expands on it. And this is all the first piece, right, of what we've talked about, preparing for bad things to happen so that we don't have to worry about the bad things happening, right?
Right. Do you have something, Castle?
I've used the ICS system with community cert team, community emergency response team. They use the ICS system. I've taken the courses that Alan's talked about.
Okay.
It is very easily scalable. We've used it at the Lansing City Fireworks when they used to be in or when they were in the park downtown here, Aldado. We did it at Common Ground when that was at Aldado. I've used it at when I was part of the committee for Michigan Pride.
Okay.
It's scalable.
Okay.
You can make it huge, you can make it big. What's your needs? And it's really easy to add more stuff on as you need it.
Is this something that each one of us that will be part of doing something in that role will need to take that same training?
I could give a little more in-depth brief, but I think if the people involved with this at least take ICS 100, which is a free course through FEMA that you can do at your own pace, it takes like 2 hours. That would probably be for the best.
Okay.
But go through it, keeping in mind that we are going to be using it in probably its most minimal form.
Right.
The other thing to keep in mind is something that we say as military emergency managers is that ICS, so easy a firefighter can do it. So
Okay.
we joke about that, but seriously, when you put on all that gear and your world goes from this down to you're looking through this little lens, your IQ drops like 10 points easy. You're hot, you're tired. You have to have something that works when the feces is striking the oscillating instrument. And this is one of those things.
I want that on a t-shirt.
But it also helps too to have an ICS plan for events. Welcome Summer Festival. Here's the ICS plan. Here's the players. Here's their role. This is what you're doing that day.
No, I think that's important that we
Which
get
is
that.
a great segue into my course for Pagan Convocation, which is going to be contingency planning for special events, based on FEMA's contingency planning for special events, which is pretty much going to be scaled to what we're doing. And I figured Welcome Summer could be our guinea pig plan for that.
Absolutely. I'd be willing to have that as the guinea pig plan because that we can put this in action. This proves that this works and this is how well it works.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of being able to do drills and prepare for that kind of stuff.
Well, that too. And it makes it where what do we do? And to have a plan, if there's a fire here, where the fuck do we go? What do we do?
Right.
What's the plan? Get the fuck out of the building.
Should we hold fire drills for church?
It wouldn't be a bad event or a bad idea because
we have visually impaired here and
we also need a rally point a certain amount of feet away from the building.
That's true. As
in the backside of the lot on that side, but not everyone's going to know that unless.
It's a good point. No, that's a good point. Okay. I very much see the value in this, and I really appreciate you for doing this, Alfred. And I look forward to a meeting and discussing all the things.
Well, that and having FCS or radios and things like that. So because cell phone towers go down, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you usually have a couple days. Most cell phone towers have a natural gas powered generator. Or at least they've supposed to have switched to that because they did have issues when we lost power for back 2003. Cell phone towers were great for the first couple days until the generators ran out of gas.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember that year because I was working at the gas station.
Yep.
Well, the 1 year that took out from the East Coast all the way into the Thumb area in Michigan.
That's the same one.
Yeah, that was 2003 August. That was our first year.
Right. The other thing is exercising this stuff. You ever heard Mike Tyson was famous for saying everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the mouth, right? That was a paraphrase of, and you guys have heard me, Helmut von Moltke the Elder said no battle plan survives first contact with an enemy. And you can write all of these plans, but until you try them out, you don't really know if they work.
Mm-hmm.
So-
That's why what drills are for.
That's why you do the drills, you do the exercises. That's why, you, especially like a fire drill sounds simple, but when you start trying to get a bunch of people out through an exit that's been constrained by people piling stuff up in front of the door, it becomes another story, or you start seeing that you have people who have trouble with vision or hearing, or people who freak out under the strain of a fire alarm going off. So, these are things you want to try out and see how it works. And you want to do this pretty much with every plan that you can. Even so, like some of the bigger stuff, you wouldn't necessarily run through it step by step like that. But one of the things that you can do is tabletop it, which is where you sit down and you say, okay, this just happened. And then you start working it out with the people who are your stakeholders in that, who are your key players. Put them at a table and say, okay, this just happened. What are you going to do? And then start walking through it. So a lot of different ways to exercise and test the system. And once you've gotten to that point, you want to do it and put a little strain on it and see what breaks, see what's our weakest link, and go from there.
Did you have something, Megan, you wanted to add?
Well, I don't know if it's still relevant now, but because at one point in the conversation, we were talking about this is a hypothetical, but we've had 3 situations this year where we needed a plan. We had a local shooting, we had a medical emergency at Welcome Summer Festival, and we had a lost participant.
Right.
This isn't well, maybe one day. We've literally had 3 examples where this plan would have been useful if we have had it beforehand, because our plan was find Alfred.
Right.
I was gonna say, at least with the medical thing, you had a guy,
Right. Yeah. With it is exactly what, because I knew what to do. I know what to do. I know basic first aid, but when it gets beyond that, I'm worthless.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, I think, why we're doing this is
Yeah.
right, to make sure that we don't find ourselves in those positions unprepared again.
Exactly.
Right.
And I agree with you. Having an active shooter plan. What do we do if there's an active shooter in the area? Having those plans is important, because not having a plan, being unprepared and being caught with your pants down is one thing.
Right.
Or doing everything you can to make sure you're safe is another.
Thank you, Alfred. Looking
problem.
forward
Glad to
to what's coming out of there.
Okay.
All right. Do we have any other things that we need to discuss?
We were also asked at last board meeting to figure out how we wanted to furnish our sensory room here and things like that. I did some research the other day when I went to Walmart, because I could. I showed them the Solenox. I will share them with everybody and we'll talk about it here. Where's it at? Pictures. Pictures. At Walmart, they have these nice beanbag chairs. They're not huge, they're not small, they're not a Lovesac by any means, I'm gonna tell you that. They're a big Joey. Its retail price is $39.98. I didn't have any other specifics on it. We can probably look it up online and get some weight restrictions and things like that, so we're not destroying them. There's also, they had some great big body pillows there for $10.44. Things that are soft, things that we could use to sit on the floor, things that we could make that space a little more comfortable. I have purchased some kinetic sand and things like that. I spent less than $20 at Meijer on that stuff during the week of Thanksgiving because it was on sale and on super clearance. And they're actually in the room now, so they're there.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have use for a 2-seat size Asian style futon that sits low to the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. One piece of furniture out of my basement.
there we go. And we didn't have to buy it.
And we don't have
hard
to
is
buy
it to
it.
transport?
It'll fit in the back of my car. No problem.
Okay.
I just,
Thinking about that plus all the other stuff we got to transport to convocations, the only thing.
well, I don't think we would take that to convocation. That
Okay.
would be left here.
Okay.
Like I could see maybe taking the on mattress, but not the whole frame.
Mhm.
But I've got at least 3 different types of futon mattresses in my basement. Plus I've got that specific 2-seater sized futon. And I've got other futons down there. I just
Trying to clean out,
let's get this moved out of my basement.
we're trying to clean out
Start
the
bringing this- Let's start bringing this stuff up on work days so that we can be getting that room in the configuration that we wanted in, and also seeing what we have on hand to take to con.
Yep.
And what else we need to get. And that could be a part of workday once we finish with the stuff on site. You know, take a field trip. Let's go shopping for our sensory stuff, or get online and start shopping.
Sounds like a plan. I will bring that futon up here for the workday then. If I don't get it before. I happen to have a nearly adult sized teenager that I can volunteer to help me.
Where did Castle go? Is he coming back?
He's in the restroom
Where'd you go?
Okay.
to get the key because whoever locked up the lobby locked the bathroom before they left.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Trying to think what else I have in my basement.
Room
that-
two.
Sensory.
Has anybody else found anything that they want to contribute to the sensory stuff and the Serenity Suite? I am on a mission this month to see if I can find a reasonable source for a large quantity of floor pillows. So, wish me luck.
Something I came across looking up projects to use all my excess of fabric is it's basically a marble maze that's sewn in between 2 pieces of fabric, and you push the marble through the maze.
Oh,
would,
cool.
would that be something you want to add to the sensory?
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Okay, I can throw a couple of those together. I'm sure they
Awesome.
look like they take more than 2 hours to do.
What's that?
It's basically a fabric square that you sew a maze into with a marble inside, and then it's a sensory thing to push the marble through the maze.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I like that. Any other suggestions, contributions, questions?
And we want stuff that's like John Kender size and up.
Oh yeah, all ages. But a lot of that sensory stuff is open-ended things. It doesn't really have an age limit. You know, we're not looking for chew toys necessarily.
no,
Unless
one
the
of-
chewies would be a bad idea.
I have an IKEA sensory swing with an air pillow in it, but I'm thinking that John and Kender have both outgrown that specific type of swing.
Not necessarily. I've actually been thinking about getting Kinder another one.
So
there's pretty good ones that go up to 200 pounds.
yeah, I'll check out the IKEA one and see what the limits are on it. We've also got an inflatable dragon floor pillow. That can probably make its way up here because John has no interest in it anymore.
Yeah, bring it up and we'll take a look at it. I'm not sure what inflatable floor pillow involves, but if nothing else, it could go into raffle. Is it plastic?
It's a basically a giant air cushion with a fabric cover that goes over it.
Okay.
And then the swing that we have uses the same type of cushion that goes inside of the pod type swing.
Okay. Yeah, bring them up. Let's try them out.
So John used the dragon pillow to work his core strength because it made him sit using his core.
I like this chair I'm on is making me do, and I don't like it.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, my chair's making me lose feeling in my feet. So,
I'll stand up. All right. Any other contributions, comments, questions, century things? Okay. I don't have anything else planned, I don't think. So floor's open if anybody else has something they want to talk about. Mueller?
I can't think of anything else we need
No.
to talk about right now.
I feel like I'm forgetting something. Am I forgetting something? Does anybody have any extra room on your plates for extra tasks? Nope. Big nose.
Give me a couple of weeks.
Haven't heard
Wow,
that.
what do you have? What do you have?
What you got?
Okay,
Well,
that's
yeah,
right. What you have? Gosh, that's.
I might have like a 2-week window coming up.
Well, if you have time for extra tasks, come and see me.
Okay.
Heard.
I guess then if nobody else has anything that they want to talk about, move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Nope.
All
All
fair?
in favor?
I.
Aye.
Get the hell out of here.
Enjoy your time away.
I'm gonna kill the